The year is 1910. In a dusty corner of Southern California, there was a small, unassuming village. The houses were simple, the streets were dirt paths, and the town was little more than a stopover for travelers on their way to somewhere else. Yet, in this quiet little town, an idea was being nurtured, an idea that would someday change the world. Hollywood. At the time, no one could have predicted that this tiny, modest village would become the global epicenter of entertainment, the birthplace of a cultural juggernaut that would shape the way people saw the world. The world of glitz, glamour, and storytelling was about to emerge, and it would all start with a series of chance encounters, unlikely decisions, and the dream of a few daring visionaries. The story of Hollywood's rise is not just about a place, it's about a vision, a revolution in art, and a cultural shift that has lasted over a century. Hollywood didn't just change the landscape of cinema, it forever altered the way we live, dream, and imagine. But how did it happen? How did a tiny town in California, once known for its orange groves, evolve into the most famous entertainment capital the world has ever known? The roots of Hollywood's birth go back to the early 1900s, a time when the film industry was still in its infancy. Silent films, though revolutionary, were crude by today's standards. Theaters had begun popping up around the country, screening short films, often in black and white, with no sound. Yet, the magic of film was already captivating the masses. It was a medium that could transcend language, culture, and borders. But it needed something more, something that would take it from a novelty to an art form. One of the first crucial moments came in 1903 when a man named Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb and the phonograph, patented the motion picture camera. Edison's invention allowed for the creation of moving images, but his vision was limited. He saw film as a means of entertainment, perhaps a few minutes of amusing novelty. But others had a different idea. Among them was a man named D.W. Griffith, whose innovative techniques would revolutionize filmmaking. His film, The Birth of a Nation, was controversial in its content, but it demonstrated the power of film to tell complex emotional stories. This was the moment when the idea of cinema as an art form truly took shape. While the film industry was taking off on the East Coast, specifically in New York, the land of Hollywood was already seeing the stirrings of something new. Back in the early days, Hollywood was nothing more than a sleepy little settlement, a collection of wooden houses, orange groves, and farmers trying to eke out a living in a land of promise. But there was something special about this place. The first key player in Hollywood's emergence was a man named H.J. Whitley. In the late 1880s, Whitley, known as the father of Hollywood, saw the potential of this land. He envisioned it as a place where artists could come together and create something bigger than any one person could accomplish alone. He saw the beauty of the land, the stunning sunlight, the rolling hills, the clear skies, and thought it was the perfect place for new ventures. In 1887, Whitley and a group of investors bought 120 acres of land that would later become the heart of Hollywood. They named it Hollywood, a name that was inspired by a small village in Ohio where one of Whitley's friends lived. Whitley believed that the name itself would help the area gain recognition. But what he couldn't have known was how prophetic his decision would be. The name Hollywood would become synonymous with fame, fortune, and the silver screen. By the early 1900s, Hollywood had become a popular spot for filmmakers. A key factor was the weather. In New York and other parts of the country, harsh winters and unpredictable weather made filming difficult. But in Hollywood, the weather was near perfect year-round. With a landscape that could be transformed into everything from deserts to mountains, filmmakers could create any world they could imagine. Around 1910, a group of filmmakers, including Cecil B. DeMille, settled in Hollywood. These pioneers were looking for a place to escape the prying eyes of Thomas Edison's Motion Picture Patents Company, which controlled the East Coast film industry. They found in Hollywood the perfect escape, an area that was far from the reach of Edison's monopolistic grip, yet close enough to the bustling energy of the West Coast. It was here in Hollywood that the first movie studio was born, Nestor Studios, founded in 1911. Nestor Studios was the first to establish a permanent location for film production in Hollywood, marking the official birth of the entertainment industry in this tiny town. What started as a modest endeavor soon grew into a flourishing business, with more and more filmmakers and actors flocking to the area. As more studios set up shop in Hollywood, the the town began to transform. Streets were paved, businesses opened, and the population began to swell. As Hollywood began to grow, so too did its reputation. Stars like Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and Douglas Fairbanks became household names. The golden age of Hollywood had arrived, and with it came the glamour, the magic, and the dream factory that would captivate millions. People from all over the world looked to Hollywood not just for entertainment, but for hope, the hope that fame and fortune were within reach. The early years of Hollywood were marked by a sense of experimentation and excitement. Filmmakers weren't just telling stories, they were creating new worlds, new forms of expression, and pushing the boundaries of what cinema could do. It wasn't just about the films, it was about the culture, the way the world saw America, and the way America saw itself. Hollywood's influence grew as its films began to reach audiences worldwide. The rise of the silent film era, and later the introduction of sound with The Jazz Singer, in 1927, solidified Hollywood's position as the undisputed capital of film. The studios were churning out movies at an astonishing rate, with a star system in place that allowed actors, directors, and producers to become cultural icons. Hollywood was no longer just a town. It was an empire, a machine that produced dreams, drama, and stories that spoke to the heart of humanity. But as with all things that rise to great heights, the fall was inevitable. As the years went on, Hollywood began to change. The power of the studios, which had once been in the hands of visionary filmmakers, began to shift toward businessmen and moguls like Louis B. Mayer and Jack Warner. The focus moved from artistry to profitability, and the industry became increasingly controlled by corporate interests. The rise of television in the 1950s and the breakdown of the studio system in the 1960s marked the beginning of Hollywood's decline. No longer the singular center of entertainment, Hollywood faced new challenges as the world of cinema became more fragmented and accessible. Independent filmmakers and new technologies disrupted the status quo, and the golden age of Hollywood began to fade into history. Today, Hollywood is a complex and multifaceted place. It is no longer the singular, magical world it once was, but it remains the symbol of the dreams that were born there. The dreams of stars, stories, and the promise of something greater. It is a place that still holds the echoes of the past, a past that was built on the foundation of a tiny town with a big vision. Hollywood's journey from a dusty village to a global powerhouse is a testament to the power of dreams and the people who dare to chase them. It was a place where anything was possible, where imagination could run wild, and where the future of entertainment was forged. What began as a small, insignificant town became a beacon for the world, forever shaping the way we view not just movies, but the very idea of possibility itself. Hollywood's story is far from over, and though the town may no longer be what it once was, its legacy lives on in every frame of every film, in every story told, and in every dream that is born anew. Because in Hollywood, anything can happen, and that perhaps is its greatest gift to the world.